Hello and welcome to Peza Horror Stories. This story was sent to me by James Miller, a 29-year-old from Oregon, who once took a weekend trip with his family to visit relatives in a quiet mountain town in Washington state. What began as a peaceful getaway turned into a night he can never forget. It was late October when James, his wife, and their 6-year-old daughter drove to his uncle's house, a small cabin just outside the town of Maple Hollow. The forest surrounded everything there. Endless rows of tall pines, fog curling between them like pale smoke. The first day was warm and friendly. His uncle, a retired logger, made them dinner. They talked, laughed, and watched the sky turn violet through the windows. There was no phone signal, but James didn't mind. The silence felt good. By night, the others had gone to bed early. James couldn't sleep. The stillness of the woods pressed against the windows, almost humming. He decided to take a short walk, just around the nearby path that circled back to the cabin. "I'll be 5 minutes," he whispered to his wife. Pulling on his jacket, he stepped outside. The air was cold, the moon half hidden behind moving clouds. He followed the dirt trail that ran past the cabin and down toward a field. The sound of crickets and distant owls filled the air. For the first few minutes, everything felt peaceful. Then he noticed something strange. The trail that should have looped back seemed to keep going longer than he remembered. He turned around. The cabin lights were gone. Only darkness and the whisper of the wind. He frowned. Okay, maybe I took a wrong turn. He kept walking, hoping to spot a light or a sign. But the deeper he went, the taller the trees became, massive, towering shapes. Their trunks blackened like they'd been burned. That's when he saw the small store ahead. An old wooden building with a single flickering bulb above the door. The sign read, Miller's General Store, the same as his last name. James hesitated, but the cold bit through his jacket. He went inside. A small bell jingled as he opened the door. The air smelled of old wood and something metallic, like rust. Behind the counter stood a man, pale skin, thin lips, eyes too wide. He looked about 60, but moved stiffly, like every motion took effort. "Evenin'," the man said slowly. "You lost?" "Yeah," James laughed nervously. "I'm staying with my uncle, just outside Maple Hollow. Can't seem to find the road back." The man tilted his head. "Maple Hollow, huh? That's a ways off." James frowned. "No, it can't be. I only walked maybe 20 minutes. The man's eyes didn't blink. "Roads change after dark." James blinked. "What?" The man smiled, then, almost forced. "You'll see the way if you follow the sound of water. But don't stop walking, and don't look up." "Thanks," he said, trying to sound casual. He turned to leave, but before the door closed, the shopkeeper added quietly, "If the trees start whispering your name, run." The door clicked shut behind him. Outside, the forest was darker than before. The moon was gone, swallowed by clouds. He listened, and faintly, through the silence, he heard water running somewhere ahead. He followed the sound. The ground grew soft beneath his boots, almost like wet moss. The air smelled of soil and decay. Then, he heard something else. Footsteps. They weren't his. Slow, heavy, from behind. He turned around. No one there. Just the tall trees and the fog between them. He took a breath and kept walking. The sound followed closer now, matching his pace. Then he saw movement. Something tall, black, standing between the trees. Not a bear, not human. Its arms were too long. Its head tilted like a bird's. James froze. The figure stepped forward. Its face was pale, eyeless, like it had been carved smooth. Its mouth stretched open, and from that hollow came a voice, his own. "James, keep walking." He stumbled backward, heart pounding. The thing tilted its head again, like it was listening. Then, in an instant, it sank into the ground, gone, as if it had melted into the shadows. James ran. Branches slapped against his face, roots caught his boots, but he didn't stop until he saw the faint glimmer of water ahead, a creek running through the woods. He jumped across, splashing, gasping. The water was freezing cold, but across the creek, the air changed lighter somehow. He spotted faint lights between the trees' house lights. He ran toward them. The path curved, then opened. Into a clearing, He saw the cabin, his uncle's cabin. Relief washed over him. He burst through the front door. His wife and uncle looked up from the table. "Where were you?" his wife said. "You've been gone all night." "All night?" James blinked. "No, I just left." He looked at the clock. 5:17 a.m. He collapsed onto a chair, shaking. "I got lost," he whispered. His uncle frowned. "You didn't go far, did you? There's nothing past the tree line, just swamp and old land nobody uses anymore." James didn't answer. The next morning, when the sun came up, he walked outside to retrace his steps, but the path he'd taken was gone. No trail, no creek, no store, just thick, endless forest, and in the dirt near the porch footprints, but not his. They were huge, deep, three-toed prints that trailed off toward the trees. He called his wife and uncle over. "You see that?" His uncle squinted. "Must be a trick of the light, son. Animals, maybe." But when James bent down, he noticed something half buried beside the prints. A wooden sign cracked and covered in mud. He wiped it clean. "Miller's General Store, EST 1912. He dropped it, his hands trembling. There hadn't been a store like that in 50 years. He turned toward the forest. For just a moment, between the trees, he thought he saw a pale face watching him. The wind rustled through the branches, and it whispered softly, almost kindly, "Keep walking, James." That was today's story. If you enjoyed it, subscribe for more terrifying real-style stories, only on Peza Horror Stories.